from the Daily Mail, Kyle Rittenhouse, 17, fights his extradition from Illinois to Washington to face charges for shooting dead 2 rioters in the Kenosha race riots after his attorney said he was acting in self-defense. Kyle Rittenhouse, or prosecutors say Rittenhouse shot and killed 2 rioters, wounded a third on the streets of Kenosha on August 25th. As you're going to see here coming up, it probably was not actually Kyle Rittenhouse who killed the pedo guy, the guy who was the serial child rapist, raped a 5-year-old. That one, he did not. The evidence shows that it's very highly unlikely that Kyle Rittenhouse actually killed that person. I think the vast majority of people would say he's a pedo, don't really particularly care about that guy. Not sure whether or not I agree with it. I don't think that anybody's subhuman. I don't think that anybody... I don't think that there's anybody who can't be reformed. I personally, I think that's an egregious crime, what that guy Rosenbaum did by raping the 5-year-old girl. I do not think that he should be put to death for that. I'm unaware as to how this guy was out. I mean, you'd think that guy would be locked away for the rest of his life. I don't know. Prosecutor said, his attorney has said Rittenhouse acted in self-defense. So let's watch the self-defense video from
decade or so, attorney. A legal matter arises that holds the power to negatively affect our lives for generations to come. Regardless of what side of the political spectrum you identify with, this is about you. After 2 nights of violence, fires, and citywide vandalism, angry mobs gathered on night 3 to protest the police shooting of Jacob Blake.
The rapist was had raped his ex-girlfriend, and then he was held them hostage with the knife, and then his ex-girlfriend called the police and said, "Hey, this guy's not supposed to be here. He's menacing us. Can you come pick this perp up?" And the cops came, and then they were trying to wrestle Jacob Blake to the ground. They tasered him. He had a knife. He said, "Don't drop the knife, drop the knife." And then he rocked around the car. He said, "I have a gun. I'm going to go get the gun." Other people also heard that too on tape. They actually said that. And then Jacob Blake walked around to the other side of the car and got into the car. And then that's when the cops shot him because he was going to go get in a high-speed chase with kids in the car. And so people then race rioted because they had fake news. Basically, these black people up in the hood who are sold on this black looter mob propaganda, this fake news narrative of white cop killing unarmed black man. They've learned that they can get money from scam donations if they lie. So you can't trust anything that these people say anymore. They're just trying to get scam donations at this point in time.
Adding to the volatility of the situation, many of the protesters were armed.
This one got a gun on him. This one got a gun on him. This one got a gun on him. This one got guns on him and rifles.
To prevent the total destruction of their community, Good Samaritans united to guard local businesses. Among them was 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse.
So people are getting injured. And our job is to protect this business, and part of my job is to also help people. there's somebody hurt, I'm running into harm's way. That's why I have my rifle, because I...
Now notice he has purple gloves on. These purple gloves he had on because he was treating an injured person.
Protect myself, obviously. But I also have my med kit.
There's a medic right here if you need help.
I am an EMT. If you are injured, come to me.
Earlier that day, Rittenhouse volunteered to remove graffiti from Ruther Central High School in Kenosha.
Good man.
In December 2018, Rittenhouse started a Facebook fundraiser for a nonprofit called Humanizing the Badge. In his own words, the mission is to forge stronger relationships between law enforcement officers and the communities they serve. He asked his friends to donate to the organization for his 16th birthday.
As long as you fuck with the government and not with each other, we are with you. Let's go. No lives can matter until Black lives matter.
In the early hours of night 3,
I think that statement there speaks volumes as to why these people are extremely dangerous. He said, no lives matter until Black lives matter. This is the statement of a tyrant who thinks everybody else is a tyrant but them. That's why they are tyrants, is because they think they're justified in being a tyrant because it's not their fault. It's the other people's fault.
protesters and guards were in solidarity. Tensions began to rise as protesters set a dumpster ablaze, then began pushing it toward a gas station. A guard quickly extinguished the flames, angering fire starter Joseph Rosenbaum.
Pedo guy.
Shoot me, nigga!
You heard it? Pedo dude said shoot me.
Rosenbaum retaliated, focusing his rage on a guard in a green t-shirt. Moments later, just down the street, Joseph Rosenbaum is seen starting more fires. Around that same time, Kyle Rittenhouse is spotted running with a fire extinguisher. With his face concealed, Rosenbaum emerges, chasing after Rittenhouse.
Oh, we got a gun, baby.
While exploring possible motives for the foot pursuit, it's worth noting that the target of Rosenbaum's first altercation was dressed similarly to Kyle Rittenhouse.
Oh, we got a gun, baby.
A single gunshot is fired by a protester, identified as Alexander Blaine.
Sin Disciples gang
From this
member.
angle,
Boy, everything about these BLM Antifa Nazis is fucking whack, dude. Talk about some criminal people.
we see the muzzle flash of Blaine's handgun. Seconds later, Kyle Rittenhouse is pinned between parked cars. Let's rewind to analyze this pivotal moment frame by frame. Here we see Rittenhouse, Rosenbaum, and a reporter by the name of Richard McGinnis, who is filming the chase on his cell phone. Directly in front of Rittenhouse, armed with bats and other weapons, a mob is forming a barricade. With no way out and no way to know who fired that shot, Rittenhouse turns to face Rosenbaum.
Right before he turned around, I'm not sure if this was a reason why he turned around, but there was a gunshot, and that's actually visible on video. It's not clear whether or not that gunshot was fired into the air or towards Rittenhouse, but Rittenhouse did turn around immediately after that. And at that point, he went from running away to aiming his weapon at Rosenbaum, and I was actually directly behind Rosenbaum. So I took one or two steps to my right as Rosenbaum was lunging for the barrel of the rifle.
Kyle Rittenhouse fired 4 shots. Seconds later, 3 additional shots are fired by an unknown shooter. One bullet grazed Joseph Rosenbaum's head. Another penetrated his right groin, his left thigh, and his back. It remains unclear that all 4 of Rosenbaum's wounds were caused by Rittenhouse. As Richard McGinnis began tending to Rosenbaum, Rittenhouse returned to the scene and began placing a call for help. As the mob begins calling for the attack of Rittenhouse, he is forced to flee the scene.
Okay. So, Rosenbaum got shot once in the head. Hold on, let's go back just a little bit. I accidentally pressed the wrong button. I pressed the stop record button. Threw me off there.
The barrel of the rifle.
Kyle Rittenhouse fired 4 shots. Seconds later, 3 additional shots are fired by an unknown shooter. One bullet grazed Joseph Rosenbaum's head. Another penetrated his right groin, his left thigh, and his back. With a total of 8 shots fired, it remains unclear that all 4 of Rosenbaum's wounds were caused by Rittenhouse.
Kyle shot 4 times. We heard 4 shots. They counted 4 missing out of the magazine. There was 1 shot at the beginning. Doesn't sound like that was a hit. That was fired by the one guy who was this gang member. And then there was another shot. Then there was the other 3 shots that came from another person.
As Richard McGinnis began tending to Rosenbaum, Rittenhouse returned to the scene and began placing a call for help. As the mob begins calling for the attack of Rittenhouse, he is forced to flee the scene.
That dude shot him. That nigga just shot that dude!
You shot him?
I didn't know.
Wait, where were you?
Did Kyle Rittenhouse have reason to believe his life was in danger?
Dozens of U.S. cities are in chaos. Millions of Americans have taken to the streets.
77-year-old David Dorn was shot to death as a pawn shop he was protecting was being looted.
The voices of peaceful protest are being hijacked by violent...
That scene fucked me up, dude. Just watching that scene. That was on the cover of RSS Commentary. I forget when that happened. Elijah Schaffer had taken that picture. He videotaped that incident. That was traumatic. They fucked that guy up, put him in a wheelchair, man. It messed me up just to watch it.
Radical elements.
One man was injured after attempting to protect a Kenosha mattress store before it eventually burned down overnight.
I am not sad that a fucking fascist died tonight.
This is essentially why these people are so dangerous. This is the same thing that the Nazis said. That's the exact same thing that they said. They don't care whether or not that person died because they think they're justified because one of their people or somebody that they know or somebody that they heard of was hurt. This is the fundamental, most dangerous thing about liberalism is the fairness drug. Fairness is a drug. It makes people go insane and kill people. If they think that you're not being fair to them, if they think that you're oppressing them, they might come and kill you and your family and torture you in front of your kids. That's why I am fundamentally opposed to liberalism, because it turns people into psychos. You need to accept that there is a social hierarchy. You need to work within it, not try to dismantle the entire social hierarchy, because that makes you a dangerous terrorist. It makes you a threat to a free and open society. Liberalism's always been that way, man. Liberalism has always been a scourge of the planet from people who are trying to take from others because they feel like that they have not been treated fairly. And because of that, because someone that they heard about or maybe possibly knew, but it's very infrequent that they actually knew somebody. They were harmed. So that means that they got to get retribution. And they don't care whether or not the person was actually guilty. They care about whether or not they were upset and angry. It's all fueled by anger. That's why these people are dangerous.
They're gonna beat them up.
Rittenhouse is seen next, running towards the flashing lights of police vehicles. The armed mob is now chasing after him.
Cranium that boy! He just shot a man!
Within this context, the word cranium is street slang, which is a calling for someone to take Rittenhouse out with a headshot.
Hey, what are you doing? You shot somebody?
I want to get police.
An unidentified protester strikes Rittenhouse in the head, knocking his hat off. Rittenhouse trips and falls to the ground. Another protester attempts to jump on Rittenhouse, who then fires 2 shots into the air. With blunt force, another protester strikes Rittenhouse in the back of the head with the sharp edge of a skateboard, then reaches for the rifle. Rittenhouse fires a single shot, striking the man in the chest. A third protester fakes as if he's surrendering, then suddenly advances with a handgun aimed at Rittenhouse. A single shot strikes the man's right bicep. While visiting him in the...
Gotta give props to Kyle Rittenhouse right there. That showed extreme discipline on the trigger. I would have unloaded the clip.
In the hospital, a friend of Grosskreutz posted the following photo and statement on social media. I just talked to Gage Grosskreutz too. His only regret was not killing the kid and hesitating to pull the gun before emptying the entire mag into him.
These people are psycho-killing potential genocidal maniacs. Once they've got enough of this drug in their system, the fairness drug, they will start mass killing people. This obviously has not stopped. They don't have any sort of political message that they're trying. This is just rage. It's not going to stop. Whenever it actually develops into a policy, chances are it's probably going to be genocidal.
When a fourth protester raises his arms in surrender, Rittenhouse exhibits remarkable judgment by not firing his weapon. As Rittenhouse moves toward police, multiple gunshots explode behind him. U.S. media was quick to label Kyle Rittenhouse as a far-right radical, a vigilante, a militia member, and a white supremacist. To date, no evidence has materialized to validate any such claim. Rittenhouse attempts to turn himself in to the police. But in the confusion, it was not clear that he was involved in the shootings and was ordered to move away. For his safety, Kyle Rittenhouse left the area and peacefully surrendered the following day. Less than 48 hours after the incident, without a proper investigation, Kenosha County District Attorney Michael Gravely charged Rittenhouse with 6 crimes.
That's what you call a political prosecution?
First-degree reckless homicide for the death of Joseph Rosenbaum that may result in imprisonment for up to 60 years. First-degree reckless endangerment of Richard McGinnis that may result in imprisonment for up to 12 years. First-degree intentional homicide of Anthony Huber that may result in imprisonment for life. Attempted first-degree intentional homicide of Gage Grosskreutz that may result in imprisonment for up to 60 years. First-degree reckless endangerment of an unknown male that may result in imprisonment for up to 12 years. And possession of a weapon by a person under 18, a misdemeanor.
What about the right to bear arms? They used to have little kids fighting in the militia back in the Civil War days, back before they had regulations on children working in factories. The kids used to be in the militia, like 13 years old, shooting in the Civil War.
The Kenosha County Circuit Court assigned a bail amount of $2 million. Kyle Rittenhouse.
That means you're not getting out of jail. That means they assume that you're guilty and you're a significant threat to the general public.
A lifeguard who risked his safety to protect his community and give first aid to wounded protesters was the only one charged with a crime. Not one of his attackers faced a single charge.
Yeah, that's whack. Democrats are like that. They're corrupt as fuck, dude. All of these Democrats are corrupt as fuck. They'll all hit you with political prosecution. There's not a single Democrat out there that would not hit you with a political prosecution, dude. They're all like that.
A 17-year-old American citizen is being sacrificed by politicians. But it's not Kyle Rittenhouse they're after. Their endgame is to strip away the constitutional right of all citizens to defend our communities, our personal property, our lives, and the lives of our loved ones. This is the moment when the home of the brave rise to defend the land of the free. Help us restore freedom at fightback.law.
As you could see, obviously Kyle Rittenhouse is innocent. I've been saying this entire time because I've watched these videos a number of times. But there was still new information in that. I did not know that there was another shooter that shot 3 times. So let's see. Let's get this straight. So actually, Kyle shot 4 shots. And then the other guy shot 3. And then later on, there was some extra shots. So I had misspoke earlier whenever I said that. There was Kyle that only shot 4 shots. No, it does appear as if there was 1 shot to the guy he killed, 1 shot to the guy, the guy who hit him with the skateboard, 1 shot to the guy who had the gun, which I'm not sure exactly why he only shot once. I think it's because he was very well trained with the weapons and he knew that he had hit. But honestly, man, I'm just in utter shock that he only shot the guy with the gun once. I mean, for real. Who wouldn't have tapped him up just prap? Who wouldn't have? They wouldn't know. And you got to do it chest up. Like, dude. That's what he just obviously did not want to kill the guy. Because if he wanted to kill the guy, he would have shot him in the chest and then shot 3 times. He tapped 3 times. But Kyle Rittenhouse did not do that. He obviously did not want to kill the guy. So that's obviously not whatever they were saying, first degree intentional homicide or they're trying to say that he intentionally did this to these people. This is insane. That's a political prosecution. This is why Democrats are horrible people. They might say, oh, no, I'm different. I'm not like that. I would never do that. You're fucking right, dude. You're on the fairness drug, dude. You can't be trusted at all because you care more about fairness than about the law. That's the problem with these people. They get high as fuck on fairness, dude. It's literally, it's like a drug. They get these dopamine hits up in their brain and then it overcomes their rationalities and they no longer think the same. They're no longer the same person. They become a brainwashed drone.